In a world that moves too fast, this is your invitation to pause, to explore the space between thought and wonder, where science meets story and emotion meets insight. Here, curiosity is more than a question. It's a way of being. You found your corner of calm and contemplation. This is nerdy psychology. Stay curious, be kind, and keep your mind nerdy.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever gone to bed with the absolute best intentions? Like tomorrow is going to be the day you're finally going to get it all together. And then the next day it just happens to you. You wake up tired. You already feel behind before your feet even hit the floor. Your phone, it's just blowing up and your email is completely full. Your to-do list somehow grew overnight. And before you know it, the day is over and the only thing you've managed to do was survive it. Not because you're lazy and not because you don't care, but because life showed up so loud. And yet somehow we still tell ourselves, I should be doing more. Why can't I do more? What's wrong with me? Hi, I'm Dr. Angel, and this is Food for Thought Friday, a space where we talk about mental health honestly, without shame, and without pretending life is simpler than it actually is. This month, we are talking about atomic habits, but not in the hustle culture, grind yourself into burnout kind of way. We're talking about habits through a mental health lens. Because when you live in a body that's tired, and a mind that's overwhelmed, or a nervous system that's just been on high alert for way too long, just try harder is not helpful advice. We live in a culture that glorifies extremes. Lose 30 pounds, wake up at 5 a.m., drink green juice, grind harder, sleep less, hustle more. And then, if you're not doing those things, the message is just subtle but loud. You're just not trying hard enough. You just don't want it enough. But here's what rarely gets said. Your nervous system, it doesn't care about your goals. It cares about your safety. And when you're stressed and overwhelmed or burned out or just emotionally taxed, your brain shifts into this survival mode. That part of the brain is not interested in long-term goals. It really just wants you to get through the day. So when we pile these big expectations on top of an already overloaded system, our bodies, they push back. And that's not laziness. That's biology. Your bodies are doing simply what they were created to do. I hear this all the time. I just need to get back into routine. I used to be so motivated. What happened to me? I don't know why. I just can't do it. But then we zoom out and we take a look at their lives. You know what? They're juggling work stress and family responsibilities, emotional exhaustion, and maybe grief, maybe health issues, maybe just years of running on empty. And yet, they're frustrated with themselves because they didn't meal prep or go to the gym 4 days this week. It's not a motivation problem. It's a compassion problem. And I want to say that again because I want you to hear it. This is not a motivation problem. It's a compassion problem. Here's what Atomic Habits gets right and what mental health adds to the conversation. Big goals often fail because they ask too much of our nervous system. Our system that's already maxed out. When your brain hears, I need to completely change my life, it doesn't get inspired. It gets overwhelmed. And that's why so many people start strong and then they crash. Think about it. New year, people set their resolutions. And by the third week of January, most people have quit working toward them. Their system says this is too much and it pulls the emergency brake and it comes to a halt. And then we feel like we failed, or we're not enough, or we don't care, or we're not motivated. We compare ourselves to other people who are out there crushing it, and we're like, what's happening to us? We sit in that shame spiral. So this is where I want us to talk about reframing. We need to reframe something very important. Small actions are not bare minimum. The regulation tools, they're taking a short walk, drinking water before coffee, or writing one sentence instead of a whole page. These aren't signs of weaknesses. They're signs of being self-aware. And they tell your nervous system, I can do this safely. And safety is what allows change to stick. I often tell people, if your goal is to be healthier, don't start with this hour-long power workout or these 30-day challenges. Start with putting your sneakers by the front door, or drinking a glass of water when you wake up, or stepping outside for a minute during your day. It's not lowering your bar, it's creating a ramp instead of a wall. It helps to gently take those steps that we need to take in a way that works with our nervous system. Progress doesn't come from pushing harder. It comes from staying engaged long enough to build trust with yourself. We've been taught that success is big and it's visible and it's fast. But I want to challenge that. What if success looked like listening to your body, making space for rest, doing one thing instead of everything, choosing consistency over intensity? That kind of success doesn't photograph well. It doesn't go on Instagram well. It doesn't make great reels, but it's the kind of success that lasts. And over time, it quietly changes everything. As we go through this month together and this new year together, I want to invite you to let go of the idea that you have to overhaul your entire life, and that means you're doing it right. You'll see tons of videos being posted on new year, new me, and how to grind this year and how to make this year your best year yet. But I want to invite you to instead ask yourself, what would feel supportive right now? What's one small step that actually feels doable for me? What would kindness look like today? Because healing and growth, they don't come from pushing harder. They come from listening better. Next week, we're going to talk about identity and the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we're capable of, and how those stories shape our habits more than motivation ever could. If this episode resonated, I would love for you to share it or leave a comment. And if you're walking this path too, just know you're not alone. If you're interested in going deeper, I've created a workbook that walks through these ideas in a practical and compassionate way. And it's linked below if you want to explore it on your own. No pressure, just support. Thank you for being here, for doing the work and giving yourself permission to grow at your own pace. Stay curious, be kind, and keep your mind nerdy. That's a wrap. See you next week.
You found your corner of calm and contemplation. This is nerdy psychology. Stay curious, be kind, and keep your mind nerdy.